America, the land of opportunity, innovation, and hard work. But not every job here comes with the perks, respect, or satisfaction we imagine. Some jobs, despite being essential, are dreaded by the people who do them. Today, we're diving deep into America's most hated jobs, what makes them so challenging, why workers hate them, and how they survive day after day in these tough roles, from fast-paced call centers to physically demanding labor. Each of these jobs comes with its own unique struggles. We'll explore rejection rates, workplace stress, burnout, and even the little-known hazards these workers face daily. But before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss our in-depth rankings on America's work culture, surprising insights, and behind-the-scenes stories of everyday jobs. Number 10. Telemarketers. This job is widely dreaded, and for good reason. Imagine starting your day, picking up the phone, and immediately being rejected over and over again. Studies suggest that the average telemarketer faces rejection on up to 90% of calls, which can feel like an endless barrage of negativity. Telemarketers are expected to hit strict quotas while maintaining a cheerful tone, even when customers hang up abruptly or insult them. The psychological toll is significant. Research shows telemarketing has some of the highest burnout rates among office jobs. Take Jane, for example, a telemarketer in Chicago. On a typical day, she might make 300 calls, and only 30 may even engage politely. By the end of her shift, she feels drained, demotivated, and often anxious about tomorrow's numbers. Yet, companies continue to rely on telemarketing because direct sales remain effective for certain industries, from insurance to subscriptions. Interestingly, telemarketers develop coping mechanisms over time, listening to music between calls, scripting responses, or even humor to handle rejection. But despite these strategies, the job remains one of the most mentally taxing roles in America. This role also highlights the invisible labor behind industries many of us take for granted. Without telemarketers, many businesses would struggle to maintain customer engagement and growth. Number 9. Customer service representatives. These are the frontline warriors of retail, telecommunications, tech, and many other industries. Their job? Solve problems, calm frustrated clients, and maintain professionalism even when faced with angry or rude customers. Imagine a customer yelling because their internet went out. Even though the outage is a nationwide issue, the representative must stay polite, follow scripts, and often resolve issues that are out of their control. Research shows that over 60% of customer service reps report high stress levels, with many experiencing anxiety, fatigue, and even depression. The environment is often rigid. Monitored calls, timed responses, and performance metrics dictate every move. Consider Alex, who works for a large telecom company. He handles 50-70 customer calls per day, facing complaints ranging from billing errors to technical failures. The emotional labor is intense. Repeated exposure to frustration and hostility can lead to long-term mental strain. Despite these challenges, customer service reps are critical to maintaining brand reputation and customer loyalty. Their work is often invisible to consumers, yet it is the glue that keeps companies running smoothly. Number 8. Fast food workers. Often underpaid, overworked, and overlooked, these employees work in one of the most physically demanding and mentally draining environments. From morning breakfast rushes to late-night cleanup, the work never stops. Fast food workers often face high turnover rates, with some restaurants experiencing 100% yearly turnover. This reflects not only low wages, but also harsh conditions: long hours on your feet, heat, grease, and dealing with rude or impatient customers. Take Marcus, a worker at a major fast food chain. During lunch rush, he serves over 200 customers in 2 hours, managing orders, cash, and kitchen prep simultaneously. Mistakes can lead to customer complaints, and the pressure to maintain speed and quality is relentless. Despite these challenges, fast food workers provide an essential service, feeding millions daily. Surveys indicate that many leave the industry not because of the work itself, but because of a lack of respect, low pay, and insufficient career advancement opportunities. Yet, there's a silver lining. Many fast food workers develop incredible multitasking skills, resilience, and people handling abilities, skills transferable to higher paying roles in the future.
Number 7. Garbage collectors. These are the unsung heroes who handle what most of us refuse to touch. Their job is physically taxing, hazardous, and often underappreciated. Daily tasks include lifting heavy bins, navigating traffic, and exposure to hazardous waste. Studies show that garbage collectors face some of the highest workplace injury rates among all professions. Cuts, falls, and vehicle accidents are not uncommon. Consider Tom, who has worked as a garbage collector for over 15 years. He starts his day at 5 a.m., braving rain, snow, or scorching heat. Despite the challenges, he takes pride in keeping his city clean, understanding the critical role his work plays in public health and sanitation. Beyond physical strain, garbage collectors often face societal stigma. Many people overlook the importance of this job, taking the service for granted. Yet, without these workers, our neighborhoods would quickly become overwhelmed with waste and unsanitary conditions.
At number 6 on our list of America's most hated jobs is one that almost everyone has encountered but very few truly understand: the retail cashier. On the surface, being a cashier might look simple. Scan items, take payment, smile, say, "Thank you." But behind that counter is one of the most mentally draining and emotionally exhausting roles in the American workforce. Retail cashiers are required to stand for long hours, often 6, 8, or even 10 hours a day with very limited breaks. There is no sitting, no slowing down, and rarely a moment of silence. Every minute brings a new interaction, a new personality, and sometimes a new confrontation. One of the biggest stresses for cashiers is constant customer pressure. Long lines build up quickly, especially during weekends, holidays, and sales seasons. Customers grow impatient, sigh loudly, tap their feet, or openly complain, often blaming the cashier for things completely outside their control, like prices, store policies, or system malfunctions. Imagine this: the register freezes. The card reader stops working. A customer's coupon is expired. Instantly, the cashier becomes the target of frustration. Voices rise, accusations fly, and yet the cashier is expected to remain calm, polite, and apologetic no matter how unfair the situation is. This emotional labor, having to suppress your real feelings while displaying constant friendliness, is one of the main reasons retail cashiers report high levels of burnout. Studies consistently show that retail workers experience elevated stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion, especially in customer-facing roles. There is also the physical toll. Standing in one spot for hours leads to chronic back pain, swollen feet, knee problems, and long-term posture issues. Many cashiers go home physically exhausted, even though they haven't lifted heavy objects or moved around much. The strain comes from repetition and immobility. Then there's the monotony. Scanning hundreds, sometimes thousands of items per shift, hearing the same beeps, saying the same phrases, repeating the same motions. Over time, this repetition can feel mentally numbing, making shifts feel longer than they actually are. Retail cashiers are also under constant surveillance. Cameras watch every movement. Transactions are monitored for speed and accuracy. Mistakes, whether it's a missed scan or a pricing error, can result in warnings or disciplinary action. This creates a constant sense of pressure to perform perfectly, even during peak chaos. Another major factor is pay. Most retail cashier positions offer low wages with minimal benefits. For many workers, the paycheck barely covers rent, food, or transportation. This financial stress adds another layer of frustration, especially when cashiers are treated poorly despite working hard. Consider Sarah, a cashier at a large grocery chain. During holiday season, she processes over 1,000 transactions per day. She's yelled at for long lines, blamed for price increases, and criticized for enforcing store rules she didn't create. By the end of her shift, her feet ache, her voice is hoarse, and her patience is completely drained. Despite all of this, retail cashiers remain essential to America's economy. They are the final point of contact between businesses and consumers. They keep stores running, sales moving, and customers served. Without them, retail as we know it would grind to a halt. What makes this job especially hated is not just the workload, it's the lack of respect. Many cashiers feel invisible, undervalued, and easily replaceable. And yet, the role demands patience, emotional control, speed, accuracy, and resilience every single day. Retail cashiers don't just process payments. They absorb stress, manage conflict, and keep the system moving, often at great personal cost. Number 5 is truck drivers. Driving across states for hours on end can be exhausting, both physically and mentally. Sleep deprivation, tight delivery schedules, and long periods of isolation are some of the most common complaints among drivers. Many truckers spend days or even weeks away from their families, living primarily inside their trucks, which can take a serious toll on mental health. According to research, long-haul truck drivers experience higher rates of obesity, sleep disorders, chronic back pain, and cardiovascular issues compared to many other professions. Irregular meal times, limited access to healthy food, and prolonged sitting only worsen these conditions. The constant pressure to meet deadlines often forces drivers to push their limits, sometimes driving while fatigued. In addition to health challenges, truck drivers face dangerous road conditions, unpredictable weather, reckless drivers, and the constant risk of accidents. One moment of distraction can have life-altering consequences. Despite these risks and hardships, truck drivers remain essential to the American economy, transporting food, fuel, medicine, and everyday goods across the country. The job demands extreme patience, constant alertness, and the ability to stay focused for long stretches of time. While the open road may seem freeing to outsiders, for many truck drivers, it becomes a lonely, demanding, and physically punishing routine that few people fully understand. Number 4, construction laborers. What many people don't realize is that construction is consistently ranked among the most dangerous jobs in America. Every year, thousands of workers suffer serious injuries and many never make it home. Falls from scaffolding, collapsing structures, heavy machinery accidents, and electrocution are not rare events, they are everyday risks. For many construction laborers, a single mistake or someone else's mistake can mean permanent disability or death. One loose bolt, one misstep, one moment of fatigue can end a career in seconds. Unlike office jobs, pain is not optional in construction, it is expected. Chronic back pain, joint damage, hearing loss from constant machinery noise, and long-term respiratory issues from dust and chemicals follow many workers for the rest of their lives. Weather offers no mercy. In the summer, laborers work under extreme heat, risking dehydration and heat stroke. In winter, they operate in freezing temperatures, with numb fingers and slippery surfaces increasing the risk of fatal accidents. Many construction workers continue working while injured because missing a day's pay could mean missing rent or groceries. There is often no safety net, no paid time off, and limited healthcare, forcing workers to choose between pain and poverty. What makes this job especially hated is the brutal truth that society often only notices construction workers when something goes wrong. When buildings stand tall, their labor is invisible. But when accidents happen, the consequences are devastating and permanent. Yet despite the danger, the exhaustion, and the lack of recognition, construction laborers keep building America brick by brick, road by road, often sacrificing their own bodies in the process. Coming in at number 3 are nurses. Often praised as heroes, yet quietly pushed to their breaking point. Behind the applause and thank you signs is a profession built on exhaustion, sacrifice, and emotional trauma. Nurses regularly work 12-hour shifts that stretch into 16, sometimes with no real breaks, no time to eat, and barely a moment to breathe. Many nurses report being responsible for too many patients at once, sometimes double what is considered safe. This means making impossible choices. Who gets attention first, who has to wait, and who might suffer because help came too late. What most people don't see is the emotional weight nurses carry home. They witness death, pain, and grief almost daily. Some hold patients' hands as they take their final breath, then walk into the next room and do it all over again. Shockingly, studies show that more than half of all nurses experience severe burnout, and many develop anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress symptoms. Some report nightmares, emotional numbness, and guilt that follows them long after their shifts end. Verbal abuse from patients and families has become increasingly common, and in some cases, nurses face physical violence yet are expected to remain calm, professional, and compassionate at all times. And perhaps the most heartbreaking truth of all, many nurses love their calling, but hate what the system has turned it into. Hospitals lose experienced nurses every year, not because they don't care, but because caring has cost them too much. America depends on nurses in its most vulnerable moments, yet often fails to protect them when they need it most. And before we reveal the top 2 most hated jobs in America, take a moment to support this channel. If this ranking is opening your eyes to what workers really go through, hit the like button so more people can see it. Subscribe to the channel for deep dive rankings like this every week. And comment below, have you worked one of these jobs or know someone who has? Your engagement helps this video reach more people and it helps these stories be heard. Now, let's move into the top 2 jobs so intense, so stressful, and so controversial, they outrank even nursing. Number 2 is teachers. Teachers are responsible for shaping the next generation, but the job comes with immense stress. Large class sizes, overwhelming administrative demands, low pay, and increasingly challenging student behavior contribute to dangerously high burnout rates. What many people don't realize is that teachers often spend their own money on classroom supplies, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year, just to give students basic materials the system fails to provide. Many teachers work far beyond school hours, grading papers late into the night, answering parent emails on weekends, and planning lessons without being paid for that extra time. The workday doesn't end when the bell rings, it follows them home. Shockingly, teachers today face rising levels of disrespect, verbal abuse, and even threats, not just from students, but sometimes from parents and the wider community. In some schools, teachers fear for their safety while simply trying to do their job. Studies show that nearly 44% of teachers leave the profession within their first 5 years, not because they lack passion, but because the emotional, financial, and mental strain becomes unbearable. Perhaps the most disturbing reality is this: many teachers love teaching but hate what teaching has become. They enter the profession to inspire minds, only to find themselves buried under pressure, blame, and unrealistic expectations. Despite all of this, teachers continue to show up every day, standing in front of classrooms, shaping futures, often while feeling exhausted, undervalued, and unheard. The most hated job in America is not loud. It is not glamorous, and most people will never experience even a single day of what these workers live through. Rank number 1. Correctional officers, that is, prison guard. Every day, correctional officers walk into an environment built on tension, violence, and constant psychological pressure. They work behind locked doors, steel bars, and concrete walls, surrounded by people who, in many cases, have nothing left to lose. This is one of the few jobs in America where your workplace can become dangerous at any second. Fights break out without warning. Weapons are homemade from everyday objects. A normal shift can turn into a lockdown in seconds. Correctional officers are regularly assaulted. Some are stabbed. Some are beaten. Some never recover physically or mentally. And yet, many report that the most dangerous part of the job isn't the inmates. It's the constant stress and fear. Imagine going to work knowing that showing weakness, fear, or hesitation could make you a target. Correctional officers must remain alert every moment of their shift. There is no off switch. Shockingly, correctional officers have one of the highest suicide rates among all professions in America. Many suffer from severe anxiety, depression, insomnia, and post-traumatic stress. Some turn to alcohol or substances just to quiet their minds after work. Unlike police officers, correctional officers often feel forgotten. They receive less recognition, less support, and fewer resources despite working in environments that are just as dangerous. Many work mandatory overtime due to understaffing, leading to exhaustion that only increases the risk of mistakes. And in this job, one mistake can cost lives. Perhaps the most disturbing reality is this: correctional officers are expected to maintain order and humanity in a system that constantly pushes them toward emotional numbness. Over time, many describe feeling disconnected from the outside world, struggling to trust people, even family. They leave work, but the job doesn't leave them. The sounds, the tension, the vigilance, it follows them home, and yet, without correctional officers, the justice system collapses. They are the thin line holding chaos at bay, often at the cost of their own mental health, safety, and identity. This is why, year after year, correctional officers rank among the most dissatisfied, most stressed, and most hated jobs in America, not because the work lacks purpose, but because the cost of doing it is unbearably high.